All right, here we go. January 6, 1993, and we're going to read Aladdin. This is a book that Cheyenne got for Christmas. Okay. It says, once in a faraway land there was a boy who lived in the streets, and a girl who lived in a palace, and a genie who lived in a lamp. And it was midnight on the vast Arabian desert, and silhouetted against the moon, a horseman waited. And suddenly, out of the shadows, a second mounted figure appeared, his galloping horse churning up the desert sand. And here he comes. See?
Which one is it?
I don't know. We're going to find out. And so we turn the page. Ooh, he looks like a nasty guy.
He's the bad guy.
In a moment, the two horsemen met. "You're late, Gazim," growled the first. "1,000 apologies, great Jafar," Gazim whined. "But see, I brought the missing half of the scarab medallion." "At last," Jafar hissed, pulling the other half of the medallion from his robe. "Look, Hagar," Jafar said to the parrot on his shoulder, and Jafar joined the two halves. A perfect fit. And as the two halves of the scarab touched, scarab's like a necklace, a piece of jewelry. As the two halves touched, the scarab glowed, and a crack of thunder shattered the desert silence. And the scarab sprang from Jafar's hand and sped away over the dunes like it was alive. And it went racing across the dunes. "Follow that trail!" Jafar exclaimed, spurring his horse into action. "It will lead us to the Cave of Wonders." And so the horsemen followed the magic scarab far into the desert, and at last it stopped its flight and buried itself in a mound of sand. And then, in a crash of thunder and lightning that just...
Got you.
At last, it stopped its flight. A crash of thunder. The sand rose up to form a huge tiger's head. And between the open jaws was the entrance to the Cave of Wonders. Look at that. It came up out of the ground.
I wonder how that happens.
Magic. "Do not forget my reward, great Jafar. I braved great danger to steal and miss the half of the medallion for you." "The treasure in the cave is your reward, Gazem," Jafar replied. "But first you must bring me the lamp." Well, Gazem rushed eagerly into the darkness as the tiger's mouth closed. It just went... and it's closed down on him.
And he got eaten.
"Unworthy fool," boomed the voice of the tiger god. "Only one whose worth is buried deep within a diamond in the rough may enter here."
What happened?
In the twinkling of an eye, the tiger cave head, its treasures and Gazim had melted back into the desert and disappeared. "Ah! Now we'll never get that stupid lamp," squawked the parrot.
I'm the parrot.
It's a bad parrot. "Patience, Igo," Jafar said. "Gazim was obviously not the diamond in the rough, so now we must find the one who is." Uh-oh. The next morning, in the bustling marketplace of Agaba, a handsome young thief stared down at the scene of complete confusion. Aladdin, for that was the thief's name, had stolen a loaf of bread and escaped on a rooftop, and he and his pet monkey, Abu, watched the Sultan's guards searching for him among the market stalls. Now, finally, the guards gave up, and Aladdin and Abu sat down to eat their first food in days. It was stale bread. But Aladdin realized that there were others worse off than he, and he gave the bread away to a couple of hungry children. "Cheer up, Abu," he said, as he made himself as comfortable as he could. "Someday it'll be better than this. Just you wait." Meanwhile, in the Sultan's palace, time was running out for... "But Jasmine, it's the law," the Sultan insisted. "You must marry a prince by your next birthday. And it will be your birthday in just 3 days." "I don't love Prince Ahmed," Jasmine replied. "Oh, Father, how can you force me to marry someone I don't love?" Well, Jasmine rushed tearfully into the palace garden. "Oh, Raja," see, here's Raja's the tiger. "Oh, Raja," she said to her pet, Bengal tiger, waiting by the garden pool, "whatever shall I do?" She looked up at the high wall surrounding the palace. If she could just climb over the wall, she would be free. Now, inside the palace, the Sultan was getting desperate. "Jafar," he moaned to his chief advisor, "I must find a husband for Jasmine. She refused every prince in the land." "I think I can help," Jafar said, "but I will need the mystique blue diamond that you wear." "No, Jafar. You know that it's forbidden for the Sultan to remove the mystique blue diamond." Jafar raised his cobra-head staff and held it hypnotically before the Sultan's eyes. "You will give me the diamond." He's hypnotizing him. Jafar commanded slowly. "Yes, master," the Sultan answered, deep in trance. Now, clutching the Sultan's ring, Jafar stepped into a secret passage and climbed a long flight of stairs to his tower laboratory. "Our moment draws near," I go. "With this diamond I can find a husband for Jasmine." "No, fool, the one who can get us the lamp." Now, once over the palace wall, Jasmine had suddenly found herself alone in a world she'd never before experienced. Agabah's bustling marketplace. Now, seeing a hungry child, she plucked an apple from a fruit stand and she gave it to him. "You'd better be able to pay for that apple, you little street urchin," bellowed a huge fruit seller. "Pay?" Jasmine stammered, but I have no money." And suddenly a young man emerged from the crowd and stepped between the towering shopkeeper and the frightened girl. "Forgive my poor sister, O merciful one," the young man pleaded. "She didn't mean to steal. She's a little crazy in the head." Then he turned to Jasmine. "Come, sister dear, I'll take you to the doctor now." "Another of your tricks, Aladdin, son of a jackal," shouted the storekeeper. Aladdin seized Jasmine's hand and pulled her into the crowded marketplace, leading her to a rooftop above the streets. "We'll be safe here," he said. And then he turned to the lovely girl. "Where do you come from?" he asked. "I ran away from home," Jasmine replied. "My father is trying to force me to get married." "Wow," said Aladdin, "that's awful." Meanwhile, in the tower above the palace, Jafar's secret laboratory crackled with lightning bolts as the evil alchemist brought the all-seeing sands of time to life. "Show me the one who can enter the cave," Jafar commanded, and the swirling sands of time parted, revealing a young man on a rooftop in Agabah. "Have the guards bring him to the palace," Jafar said to Ango. And so the palace guards quickly marched into the city and swarmed up to Aladdin's hiding place. And before Aladdin could leap to his feet, he was a prisoner. The palace guards grabbed poor Aladdin. And Jasmine threw back her hood and said, "Release him at once," the girl ordered. "Princess Jasmine!" gasped the surprised palace guards. "Princess Jasmine!" gasped the surprised Aladdin. "I dare not release him, Princess," said the captain of the guards. "My orders come from Jafar." "You will have to take it up with him." "Believe me, I will," Jasmine said. Uh-oh. Now, in the dungeon cell in the palace, Aladdin thought about the beautiful girl that he had rescued from the shopkeeper. "A princess, I can't believe it," he said aloud to Abu, who had followed him into the dungeon and freed him from his chains. "And I thought she was as poor as we." Unnoticed, Jafar, disguised as an old prisoner, had slipped quietly into the cell. That's actually the bad guy, Jafar. He just makes himself look like an old crazy guy. You see that? Well, it's really raining outside, isn't it?
Yeah. But the whole outside is flooding.
I know it's flooding very badly. You don't always have to be poor, Aladdin, he said. There's a cave filled with treasure. It can be yours if you will just help me get a worthless lamp. Eager to get out of the dungeon, Aladdin agreed. Uh-oh. And in the middle of the vast desert, the tiger's head rose up before Aladdin's astonished eyes. First, bring me the lamp, Jafar said eagerly. Then the treasure can be yours. And so carefully Aladdin approached the entrance to the cave. Who disturbs my slumber? The voice of the cave thundered. It's me. My name's Aladdin, he said. Enter, Aladdin, said the voice in the tiger's mouth. And Jafar watched Aladdin and Abu enter the cave and disappear down into the tiger's mouth. Look. What is it?
The thing where the genie stays.
And what else is it? Treasure. It's gold and silver, and it's just, wonderful. In the eerie glow of the cave, Aladdin and Abu followed steep steps down, 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 until they found a huge chamber filled with mounds of gold and treasure. Just a handful of this would make me richer than the Sultan, Aladdin explained, and Abu reached for a glittering ruby. No, Abu, Aladdin warned, we mustn't touch anything until we find the lamp. And suddenly Aladdin and Abu noticed a richly embroidered carpet peeking at them from behind a pile of coins. Well, I'll be, Aladdin laughed, a magic carpet. Maybe it knows where we can find the lamp. Now, the magic carpet showed Aladdin into a second chamber. And high atop a massive altar, look at this, you got to go. He saw the lamp. Aladdin ran up the stone steps, but the boy was reaching for the lamp. As he was reaching, Abu, who could never resist a glittering jewel, grabbed a gem from the hands of the idol, and the ground began to tremble. The cave spoke. Abu has touched the forbidden treasure. You shall never again see the light of day. The altar began to crumble beneath Aladdin's feet. He snatched the lamp and he ran down the swaying stone steps and he jumped aboard the carpet. And the floor of the cavern was turning to molten lava, and Abu was in danger of dying, so Aladdin grabbed Abu's paw and pulled him onto the carpet. And as the cave began to collapse behind them, the magic carpet sped Aladdin and Abu toward the entrance where Jafar waited. Jafar, help us! Aladdin called, clinging to the heavy edge of the cave. The cave. The lamp! Give me the lamp! Cried Jafar, and he seized it from Aladdin's hand. And then from his robe, Jafar drew a long, gleaming dagger. Goodbye, fool! Jafar snarled, raising the dagger over the helpless Aladdin. And in a flash, Abu leaped from Aladdin's shoulder. Ow! Jafar shrieked as a little monkey sunk his teeth into the bad guy's arm. And the bad guy, Jafar, dropped the dagger, and Abu and Aladdin fell back into the cave. And the earthquake had stopped, and the cave was as silent as a tomb. We're trapped in here, Abu, Aladdin despaired. That jackal stole the lamp, and now he'll never come back for us. Abu chirped and held up his paw. Aladdin's eyes widened, and in the paw was the lamp. You got it back when you bit him. Good work, Abu. And Aladdin took the lamp. I wonder what's so special about this dusty old thing. And he rubbed it, trying to get a better look at it. What happened?
The genie came out.
The genie came out. The lamp began to glow, and then a towering cloud of smoke poured from the spout, and the smoke formed itself into a gigantic figure. "Say, you're a lot smaller than my last master," the giant said, looking at Aladdin. "Or maybe I've gotten bigger over the last 10,000 years. "Oh, my goodness. Are you the genie of the lamp?" Aladdin asked. "The one and only," the genie replied. "I don't believe you. If you were a real genie, you could get us out of this cave." "Oh, yeah," the genie said to Aladdin. "Well, watch this, Mr. Smarty Pants." Quick as a wink, they were out of the cave, soaring over the desert on the magic carpet. "How's that, kiddo? Am I a genie or am I a genie?" "I guess you're a genie, all right," Aladdin said. "So, do I get 3 wishes?" "Yep," said the genie. "But no fair wishing for more. 3 more wishes." Aladdin thought about the Princess Jasmine. "I wish I was a prince." Well, when Jafar returned to the palace, he came face to face with a very angry princess. "I command you to release Aladdin." "But Princess, Aladdin has already been executed," Jafar lied. "When I marry and become queen, you'll pay for this, Jafar." Fighting back tears, Jasmine ran from the room. "That girl means trouble," Jafar said to Igo when they were alone. "Her wedding march will be her funeral march." "Not if you marry her yourself," Igo suggested. Suddenly, the palace gates were thrown open. "Prince Ali of Abattoir," announced the palace guard, and the trumpets blared and the drums rolled, and into the palace flew Aladdin on his magic carpet, and he was dressed from turban to toe in the silks and jewels of the royal prince. "I have come to seek the hand of the Princess Jasmine," he said to the astonished Sultan. And that night, when Prince Ali took Jasmine for a moonlight ride on his magic carpet, she discovered that he was the same young man she had met in the marketplace. And far below, Jabbar watched them. "I must get rid of that intruder before he spoils my plans," Jabbar thought, so he's going to try to get rid of Aladdin. So by the time the carpet had returned to the palace, Jasmine knew that Mary. "Good night, my prince, Aladdin," she said, going into her bedchamber. And at once Jafar and his guards fell upon Aladdin, and they tied him up, and they gagged him, and Aladdin was carried to the edge of a cliff. And what did they do? They threw him over into the angry, crashing waves. Poor Aladdin. "So you like to fly, Prince Ali?" Jafar said. "Well, try this." And he fell into the sea. Now, Aladdin dropped like a stone into the sea, and as he sank below the waves, the lamp fell from his tunic, and he strained against the ropes until one hand was free. And he rubbed the lamp, and the genie appeared. "Never fails," he complained. "As soon as I get in the bathtub, somebody rubs the lamp. I guess you wish to get out of this mess." Nearly unconscious, Aladdin nodded. Now, in the palace, Jasmine had made a decision. "Father, I want to marry Prince Ali." "Excellent," the Sultan rejoiced. Jafar stepped forward. "I'm afraid that's impossible, Princess. Prince Ali has gone away." Jafar held his cobra staff before the Sultan's eyes. "But your father has something else to tell you, Princess." Jafar smiled. He's hypnotizing him, looking, going, "You will marry Jafar," the hypnotized Sultan droned. "Never!" Jasmine cried. "Father, what's wrong with you?" "I know," said a voice from the doorway. It was Aladdin. He watched the cobra staff. He snatched the cobra staff from Jafar and shattered it on the floor. "This traitor has been hypnotizing you, Your Majesty," Aladdin said to the Sultan, who was now free of his spell. Jafar ran from the room, but not before glimpsing the lamp in Aladdin's robe. And hiding in his laboratory, Jafar plotted. "So Prince Ali is Aladdin," he said, "and he has the lamp. At dawn the next morning, Igo crept into Aladdin's room and stole the lamp. At last Jafar had the lamp, and eagerly he rubbed it, and the genie appeared. "I am now your master," Jafar bellowed. "What a revolting development," said the genie. Jafar hesitated. "I wish to be sultan." And that day nearly everyone in the city of Agrabah was crowded beneath the palace balcony to hear the sultan's happy news. "My daughter has chosen Prince Ali to be her husband," the sultan announced, and the crowd cheered and went, "Yay!" and they all clapped. And then the crowd gasped, and the sultan's royal robes vanished, and someone else appeared in the balcony wearing the sultan's robes. Jafar was now sultan. "We will never bow to you," Aladdin said angrily, and Jafar held up the magic lamp. "And then you will cower," he explained, rubbing the lamp. "Genie, I wish to be the most powerful sorcerer in the world." "I don't like it, but you got it, master," the genie replied. And for the first trick, the newly made sorcerer said, "I banish Aladdin to the ends of the world." And bolts of lightning snapped. They snapped from Jafar's fingertips, hurling Aladdin to the top, from the top of the palace tower. The tower snapped off, and like a rocket it sped to the snowbound ends of the earth. How did I ever get out of this?" Aladdin groaned, and the answer to his question appeared from the toppled tower in the shape of Abu, followed by the magic carpet. Look, Abu brought the magic carpet with him, huh? Now, meanwhile, back in Agrabah, the poor sultan was hanging from the ceiling in the throne room like a marionette, watching as Jafar ruled his kingdom. "Bring me some more wine, slave," Jafar ordered Jasmine. Helpless in the sorcerer's power, she obeyed. Clinging to the magic carpet, Aladdin and Abu swept out of the sky and into the palace. "You," Jafar snarled, "how many times do I have to get rid of you, boy?" And the sorcerer surrounded himself with a wall of flames. "Are you afraid to fight me, you cowardly snake?" Aladdin challenged Jafar. "A snake, am I?" Jafar replied. "So be it." And so he becomes a huge snake. A huge cobra snake. Ooh, what do you think?
Yucky. Yucky.
Instantly, Jafar turned himself into a huge cobra, and Aladdin and Jasmine drew back from the deadly fangs. "Do you think you could outwit the most powerful sorcerer on earth?" hissed the cobra. And as the gigantic cobra raised its head to strike, Aladdin thought quickly. "The genie has more power than you'll ever have, Jafar," Aladdin explained. "You're right," the power-mad Jafar agreed. He caught the lamp in his coils. "Genie, my third wish is to be a genie." And the cobra vanished, and Jafar towered over Aladdin in the shape of a genie. "Now I have absolute power," he answered. Then Jafar noticed what was happening. "What?" he shrieked. "I'm dissolving!" And in a moment, Jafar and Igo had disappeared, forever imprisoned in a lamp that Aladdin was holding. Then, with a third wish, Aladdin freed the genie. "I'm going to miss you," he said, as the genie flew off to a new life. And the first thing that the Sultan did when he became Sultan again was to change the law. Princess Jasmine could marry anyone she wished, and since she wanted to marry Aladdin, that's exactly what she did. And that's the story of Aladdin. And we have to go to the movie, don't we?
Yeah.
And the princess married Aladdin?
Yeah.
And the bad guy, Jafar, got shipped away?
Mm-hmm.
Is that good?
Yeah.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Well, now, why'd you throw it down, honey? You'll break your book. Don't do that.
I didn't. It's gonna away.
Well, not to throw your books. We love our books. It's a really pouring down thunderstorm, horrible night of rain and rain and rain. What do you think out there?
I don't know, but it's a river out there.
It's a river in our backyard because the rain is washing out everything in our backyard. Hi, Mom.
Baby.
Mommy kissed us. What are you doing like that for? You love Kisses Thunder, Shane. Listen to it out here. We'll go out here and hear it. Cheyenne, you were to pick up that puzzle.
1, 2, 3.
You want to? Yeah, want to. Really raining. Scott Hunt, look up. Pick up that puzzle.
It rained on us.
Rained on it. Nah, that's it.
Let me see the tape. We
I
spelled
thought boys
rock
were going to
this
school
time.
now.